So as if to prove that we are actually living in the most ridiculous timeline, the Labour government has today announced that they have approved, quote, experiments to dim the sun, or will be within the coming weeks, because they think this will save us from global warming. Brilliant. So I just want to, before we get into the meat of this, talk about a bit of a history and a bit of the context around it. So you may remember that we live in England. There are 8,760 hours in a year, and we can measure the amount of sunlight hours we get in that year, as in the amount of hours that the sun actually strikes the earth and is not intercepted by clouds. And unsurprisingly, England and Scotland are some of the least sunny places in the world. England gets about 1,300 sunlight hours, Scotland like 1,100 sunlight hours. As you can see, the only places that get fewer sunlight hours than us are in the Arctic Circle. Like Sweden and Norway get more sunlight than we do. Russia gets more sunlight than we do. Canada gets more sunlight than we do. And for some reason, our stupid government is like, you know what we need? Solar panels. That's what will benefit England. Solar panels. Here's nearly £200 million in the budget to put solar panels on top of schools and hospitals. This surely won't be a dramatic and just incredible waste of money that future generations will laugh at us for even attempting. But of course, no, they're going ahead with it. Or at least they were going ahead with it until it turned out, oh wait, these are being made in China with slave labor. Okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to still push ahead with the solar panels. We're just going to make sure that there is no slavery or human trafficking in the supply chain. Because you know what we're going to do is we're just going to trust China's word in it, bro. So that, preposterous, absolutely preposterous. And this all precedes the government saying, yeah, no, we're going to then go ahead of dimming the sun. Again, right, I live in England. I don't consent to you dimming the sun. We don't get enough sun as it is. And how does this help the rest of the world exactly? Are we going to be doing this for... I mean, obviously, we only have the authority to dim the sun over England, which, again, is such a preposterous thing to say. Like, England is not suffering from an abundance of sunlight, right? This is just not the case. And so, anyway, their plan will include injecting aerosols into the atmosphere or brightening clouds to reflect sunshine, and various other things that they have decided arbitrarily, that the Labour government that got elected on 20% of the total vote have decided, yeah, no, it's within our remit to just dim the sun for everyone, right? No one voted for this. No one consents to this. You do not have the authority to do this. And I'm not even getting into the discussion on climate change. I just don't want you to do this. I've just got no interest in it. And as many people have pointed out, yes, our government has actually taken on the aspect of Mr. Burns in The Simpsons. The Simpsons did it first. Yes, they have actually decided that you're getting too much sun, and it's not because they're greedy and capitalist, even though they are going to be spending all your money on it. It's that they're trying to save the world by blocking out the sun over England. I mean, just think about that for a moment, just how stupid that sounds. If it's not stupid enough that we can be like, well, we're 1% of global emissions of carbon, so if we get carbon neutral, what? The world is saved? No, we didn't do anything. That 1% isn't going to make any difference whatsoever. And I felt like, right, okay, yeah, so what we're going to do then is block out the sun over England, and that will save the world. No, that's not going to save the world either, is it? Even if everything you said was right, that's still not going to work. So would you just stop being openly evil for 5 minutes? Like, what you're planning is the most horrific thing. Like, it's people get depressed in bad weather, right? People get depressed when there just isn't enough sunshine, because we need the sunshine. We actually, as humans, are kind of reliant on it in multiple ways, such as producing vitamin D in our skin. So you're going to create a load of people who get sick from not seeing the sun enough. And they're like, yeah, well, it's either this or the world blows up or something in a firestorm. It's like, that's not going to work. You are moronic, and it is embarrassing. And the thing as well, this isn't even new, and you're going to get called a conspiracy theorist for suggesting this, as the Independent in 2021, bizarre conspiracy theory claims Bill Gates is trying to block out the sun. Oh, really? What was the origin of that conspiracy theory? That's right, it was Forbes. Forbes posted this. A Bill Gates venture aims to spray dust into the atmosphere to block the sun. What could go wrong? I mean, the very nature of the question, I don't consent to some American billionaire blocking out the sun. I don't care how hellishly hot the earth is going to get. I don't care. I don't care what climate change does to us. I don't care. I do not consent to you blocking out the sun. Whatever it is that you think you need, that's not it. That is not it. I don't see enough sun as it is because I live in England. And so, no, absolutely not. And the idea that this could go ahead and has been, apparently it's just going to be signed off by the Labour government, is just mad. Absolutely mad. And we will end up having to campaign. We will restore the sun over England, lads. That's the future that we're going to promise. There's going to be sunshine in the future because the government won't artificially shut it down. And the thing is, again, like within 3 years, this is actually happening. This is actually happening. And they've been talking about this since at least 2008, although I don't doubt it goes back way further than that. And so, yes, we have actually arrived in the most ridiculous position where the government, just the idea of taking the sun away from people is so malevolent, such a cruel thing to do to people's well-being. I just can't believe this is on their mind. I just can't believe they would even hang on, isn't this, it's a highly embarrassing thing because it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. The very best they'll do is just make it miserable to live in England, even more than it already is, given what everything else that's happening to us. But at least we had sunny days occasionally. But now they're like, yeah, we're going to take those away too. It's right, okay. All right, I'm sure that's going to just turn out brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. But again, not only is it not going to work, but it's so palpably evil, right? I will make sure that I do my part producing media that historians in the future will be like, oh wow, everyone at the time thought this was just evil. They just thought the government just wanted to destroy them and crush their spirit. I don't want to sound a bit like Alex Jones here, but I think the human spirit actually needs to see the sun every now and again, right? And again, I don't consent. And what are the downstream effects are going to be of this? Do you know what pumping aerosols into the atmosphere does to wildlife, to bugs, to the bees, to plants? Do you know what particular effect it has on our health? Am I breathing this in? Are you mad? Are you actually mad to think this is a good idea? And look at the ultra conservative. The weather might change. Well, we've got to stop that. So who the hell do you think you are, bro? You're not the guy who decides what the weather should be tomorrow, and you shouldn't be that guy. You're, in fact, the incompetent Labour government, and think about this, just the scope and the magnitude of the catastrophe you may be ushering in. And that's a worst case scenario. Best case scenario, you just make everyone more miserable. And like I said, it's not going to work. You are not going to save the planet by making sure there's no sun in England. You guys are mad, absolutely mad. And just the very, oh God, I can't even describe how preposterous this is. And the thing that bothers me more than anything is that it's not even that they know what is going to happen. As they say, Professor Mark Symes, the program director for ARIA, Advanced Research and Invention Agency, said there would be small controlled outdoor experiments on particular approaches. Who gave permission for this? Who agreed to this? We will be announcing who's been given funding, blah, blah, blah. One of the missing pieces in this debate was the physical data from the real world. Models can only tell us so much. How about we don't want this? How about we don't care what you're trying to achieve? How about this is just evil? But he says, well, everything we do is going to be safe by design. Oh yeah, is that what the thalidomide producers said? We're committed to responsible research, including responsible outdoor research. You don't know what the effect of this is going to be. You have no idea what the downstream effect of this is going to be, which is why you want to do the experiment. Did we agree to large-scale experiments outside? You don't know what the consequences will be. You don't have the authority to do this. But don't worry, guys. They said, we have strong requirements around the length of time experiments can run for and their reversibility, and we won't be funding the release of any toxic substances to the environment. Again, you don't know. We didn't think plastic was toxic for the longest time until it turned out that it can break down into microplastics and end up accumulating in various parts of your body that turns out not to be good for you. You don't know. You are totally cavalier, totally irresponsible. And I find this really insufferable. The hubris of scientists really does my head in. This absolute arrogance. They just think, well, we can just mess around with this hugely complex system and we just assume it will be okay because we assume that whoever gets the negative results of it won't be us. Oh, well, brilliant. And what's better is that even if there are a bunch of negative results, we'll never be held accountable. Like, scientists are never held accountable for the damage that they've done. What about those scientists who are promoting COVID lockdowns that retarded a generation of children? Where's the accountability? How are they being punished for this? They're not. They never are. For some reason, scientists are completely divorced from the consequences of these wide-scale experiments that they are, for some reason, allowed to conduct. They are not wizards. They do not know everything. The magic has negative consequences. Can we please knock this stuff off? Experts are hopeful that if the experiments prove a success, they could be scaled up and implemented within 10 years. Oh, brilliant. So we can do like they did in The Matrix and scorch the sky. Only this time we're not doing it to defeat an army of evil robots that are intent on enslaving us all. No, we're doing it because otherwise everyone apparently dies. Anyway, I think this is mad, deeply irresponsible, way beyond the remit of what the government actually has the authority to do to the country. And I mean, this we have to have some sort of national debate on this, at the very least, right? They can't just be allowed to arbitrarily say, you know what, you're getting too much sun, we're knocking that off, I'm sure you're all going to agree, and even if you don't, we don't care.